Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Look, I got the podcast mic out so y'all know I mean business, okay? It's been a minute. I wanted to do something different. I'm more than just the looks, okay? I really am a thought leader. I am a learner. I am really a student of fashion. So I wanted to chat about the state of fashion, the history of fashion, fashion theory, fashion philosophy. And so we're going to dive into some things I've been thinking because I'm a little bored with fashion right now. I don't know about y'all, but what I'm seeing on the runways, what I'm seeing in stores is just not inspiring me. And when you start to study and learn more about fashion, you understand that there is nothing at this point new. This is not Dior. This is not Chanel. This is not Schiaparelli. This is not Margiela when they first came out. Everything that they did was inventive and revolutionary. So in this video, I'm going to present some ideals, some philosophies, theories as it relates to fashion. I'm going to share a bit of history, keep an open mind. I'm going to challenge your ideas about fashion and style. I want to light a fire under your behind and get us passionate about fashion again. Let's make getting dressed fun again. It's not my intention to offend anyone, but I have strong opinions, all right? So let's chat. Let's start with this stand is so annoying. I wanted to just stay up and stuck, okay? Word to Cardi B. Let's start the video with what do we think fashion is, okay? Pause the video and comment down below what you think fashion is. So clothes existed long before fashion, right? So when Adam and Eve disobeyed God and ate the fruit from the tree, they immediately knew that they were naked. And so they took refuge in leaves or whatever that they could find to cover themselves. So in essence, clothing is to cover up your nakedness, your shame, your guilt, but also to protect you from the elements. Fashion began around the 1300s in a modern sense. I think fashion is something tangible, things that we wear, like the shirt that I'm wearing, these sweats that I'm wearing, like something that you can touch. That's fashion. I also think fashion is a system and it thrives off of our insecurities. I also think fashion is a social marker or class signifier, very exclusive. Very much, you can't sit with us. I also think fashion is change. Like fashion moves in cycles. So if you see one trend or style, it's in season and out of season at the same time. It thrives on the new, the latest, the exclusive, but it's also leaving as it's coming. Fashion is novelty and always on its way out. What are your thoughts? What would you consider fashion to be? Comment down below. And so that's why I'm a proponent of style versus fashion. Style cannot be bought. It is in your DNA. It is how you take fashion and translate it into your language, how we utilize our experiences, our inspirations, even our insecurities to share who we are to the world. My journey with style, and I think about some of my fashion choices, and they definitely thrived from or came about due to survival or insecurities. Like I wasn't always the most confident in my body. And so because of that, that's why I wear a lot of oversized clothes. Even as I've grown and become more mature and became a woman and I own myself, I love my body. These are just certain aspects of my style that haven't changed and I embrace that. So what started out as an insecurity is something that I'm known for today. My inspirations being from New York, hip hop culture, and the sustainability aspect of our culture. Hand-me-downs is a thing. Your mother will buy you something 2 sizes too big so you can wear it for a couple seasons. So these are things that are innate. These are things that are individualized, right? And so when I speak about style, that's what I say. That's what I mean. Like, what are some experiences that you live through that you can incorporate in your style? When I speak about sneakers, like I love sneakers. I have a whole collection of sneakers. I was an athlete. And so, you wear sneakers. But also because I was an athlete, I had a lot of feet issues. Sneakers have been a safe haven for me. They have always been what is most comfortable for me. I also broke my ankle. I'm not sure if you guys know that story, but that's how I started my YouTube channel, because I broke my ankle and I needed a creative outlet. So I just started recording videos. These things that I'm passionate about that represent my style are very personal to me. So I want you to sit and reflect and think about your past experiences and your inspirations and how you can constantly be incorporating those things into your style. I wasn't as introspective growing up, and like, oh, I used to think certain things were, to my detriment or something that I didn't want. Like, I wanted to wear heels with the girlies. Like, I wanted to give. Like, even now, like, I want to, but like my feet have other plans. And so if I could look back, I would appreciate things that I saw as flaws, as things that make me unique. I also think having a unique name growing up helped me to become an individual. I used to be sad when I would go to like the gas station and you would see like the keychains with the different names on it, and mine would never be there. But I learned to accept myself and enjoy my uniqueness and allow that individuality to kind of see me through the rest of my life. Style is very much who you are. If you know who you are, can't nobody tell you who you are. You can't be persuaded, right? And so fashion, it banks on you not knowing yourself. It banks on you wanting to fit in so much. I saw an article a few months ago about fast fashion and how it thrives off insecurities, about how that we want to wear the latest, the hottest, the greatest things that are on the runway. We might not necessarily can afford it, so we find the fast fashion option. They didn't disclose his name or the brand. They pretty much said their clothes exist only to be washed 4 times. It goes back to what we said about fashion is change. Fashion is cycles. But if you knew your clothing was only meant to be washed 4 times, how would you treat your clothing then? Would you invest more in higher quality clothing? Would you make more informed decisions if you knew that your clothing and the items that you bought from, say, a Shein or a Fashion Nova was only made to last 4 washes? I think it speaks to the state of fashion these days that we'll literally waste our money. This is by no means a shot at anybody who has to shop fast fashion or anybody that chooses to. We all have choices, right? We all have choices. But then I think about like for fast fashion, how did we shop? Where did we shop? Before Shein, before Fashion Nova, we still made a way, right? I just want people to think outside the box, become more resourceful, and not do what others are doing. Bring back the individual, bring back personal style. I was browsing through this hip hop book about hip hop style. Everybody had such amazing personal style. Everybody's hair was different, jewelry was different, clothing was different. You can tell the era, like it was in the 80s and 90s, but everybody has such a distinct personal style. And I just want us to get back to that because that was just so beautiful. So yeah, I wanted to talk about some trends and predictions. This isn't based on anything that I've seen on the runway or in store. It's just kind of like I just have like maybe it's a hope, maybe it's a wish. I also have kind of like a something in my gut is telling me that we are all craving something more, right? I think we understand how destructive fashion has been. We all want to make better choices. And so when I talk about these trends and predictions, these are things that I'm hopeful about. I hope that personal style will come back. I just feel like society is shifting, our values are shifting, and there are like cultural moments that are going to be able to define our fashion choices. I think divesting from fashion is a theme. I think individualism will come because we start to divest from fashion as a whole, moving away from large branded logos and big fashion houses and big box brands to more individualized approach to fashion and more fashion that has a political statement or social statements involved. Sustainability is something huge, and I think brands are confused as far as like how they want to be more sustainable. There's a lot of greenwashing, a lot of promises. It's going to have to be an individual value. We can't rely on these big corporations to change because they're trying to make money. It's going to have to be an individualized choice. I value sustainability. Once you start being more sustainable in one area of your life, it starts this domino effect. I used to be very much into a lot of large logos, and now I'm just like, I have the real coming through like often to get rid of a lot of stuff, because I used to love Balenciaga. Like I used to want like big Balenciaga across my chest. Like I logo mania, that was my thing. Also back to like hip hop inspirations and things of that nature. But as I become more mature, more conscious of my consumption and my impact, I'm not trying to be giving like free press and free advertising to these brands out here. You also have to realize, especially with the controversy that Balenciaga dealt with, but I've been a fan of Balenciaga long before Demna and his shenanigans. When they went through their controversy, it made me start to like, I was self-conscious. Like I didn't want to wear anything that had huge logos on it or anything like that, because I didn't want it to seem like that I was advocating for the brand. But at the same time, I still am a fan of the brand, and I still have pieces that are, I feel like, classic, timeless pieces that don't have the huge logos or anything like that. I have a few bags I like, but a lot of the stuff I ended up giving away. And so it just made me realize like how that just doesn't, obviously what they were doing was treacherous, or whatever it was treacherous, but on a grand scheme of things, having huge logos just didn't represent my style anymore. Like, yes, that's very much a hip hop Dapper Dan thing. Shout out to Dapper Dan, godfather of streetwear. I got to interview him during Fashion Week last year. Iconic. I still have like vlog footage from that, but who knows when I'll actually upload that. But anyway, also, excuse me, because I do have a tendency to go off on tangents. Like this video is, I'm trying to be organized, but it's really more so just like a little chatty chat, something you just throw on and clean the house or eat your food. But what was I saying? Okay, so just realizing like certain things about certain brands just don't align with my values anymore, and how like logo mania, that is just not, I'm not here for that. Like, yeah, even Nike logos, like I don't need a big Nike across my chest. Like it don't matter what the logo is. I don't need that. I don't need you to know what I'm wearing, okay? So just becoming more inconspicuous with what you're wearing, the designers that you're wearing. I think that falls in line with this whole quiet luxury movement or whatever like that. The luxury that they're referencing when they say quiet luxury is still exclusionary, like social signifiers. Like, yes, you can have your Laurel Piani or your Brioni Souped or your Hermes things that, things of that nature, but you're still not a part of the elite. No matter what you wear, you're still not that, okay? And so I think it's important for us to be realistic. I think we're in an era of Delulu. Shout out to the TikTok girlies. But yeah, quiet luxury, it signifies who it needs to signify. And babes, that ain't you. But I do think that people are going to start adopting the aesthetic of quiet luxury. We've been seeing it, but in a more of a sustainable approach, in a more of a uniform approach, right? Because if I have on khaki pants, khaki shirt, like if I'm doing things that are non-branded, neutral colors, I can wear those things more often than something that is bright and colorful. I could get away with wearing the same thing over and over again. So like having more of a capsule wardrobe, people investing more money into these timeless staple pieces where they can interchange them throughout the season. So I do think we'll start adopting more of that approach to how we shop. Less trendy items, more staples, timeless classic pieces that you can wear in a variety of different ways. Things I've been speaking about since day one on this channel. So us getting more into conscious consumption is something that I see, thinking more about the choices that we make, upcycling and DIY. Y'all know that's my ting. I have so many projects that I want to do, so stay tuned. I feel like upcycling DIY is something that we are going to see an emergence of. Individually, people will start being more open-minded to going to take some sewing classes or, cropping a blazer if they like it. Because honestly, I see a lot of things on the runway and I'd be real quick to be like, I'm not buying that. I can DIY that. That's me. DIY the runway coming soon, okay? But just more into like personal style, personalization, customization, going to the tailor and getting things tailored to fit, adding little personal touches to your pieces. If we start to shift more into this uniform, this neutral capsule wardrobe kind of vibe, right? You're going to have to rely on your accessories, your hair, your makeup, your jewelry, your footwear to elevate your look, but also give you that individualized approach to personal style. You can dress super minimal and still give personal style. It can still tell your story. I think a lot of the times people misconstrue, like when I say personal style, that it has to be this big, vibrant, like super bold thing. And it's not. Like personal style is personal, and I should be able to, like, there are just key signifiers that scream like this is my personal style. I always talk about having a signature, like whatever that is, like allowing that to elevate and personalize your look. Your signature can be your hair, your makeup, your jewelry, your nails, anything like that can just, it's like your signifier, your unique signifier of like how you bring your look together. Or it can be certain elements. Like for me, I love creating juxtapositions, just that contrast between masculine and feminine. So I always create that balance. So that's my signature. That's something that I bring to every single look. So find that for you. What is that thing that you're going to bring to every single look? So even if you do go to Pinterest or find a look on IG and you want to recreate, you can still give you. Clothes and fashion plays a huge role in your identity about how you see yourself. In the book Atomic Habits, one of my favorite books, he mentioned thinking about the person that you want to become and doing the activities that that person would do. So the same with fashion. Think about the person that you want to be. How does that person dress? How does that person show up? What would that person wear to this event? Finding ways to be introspective and asking yourself questions when it comes to your fashion decisions, I find will get you more in line with your personal style. So just going in your closet and browsing through your different pieces and asking yourself, why do you like this piece? What is it about this piece that I don't like? Finding pieces that you don't wear. Why don't I wear this piece? Like it doesn't fit well. So yeah, let's take her to the tailor and see if that changes your approach to this item. We already have so many clothes. And instead of buying more clothes, it behooves you to learn about yourself, learn about your likes and your dislikes. I started doing fashion styling consultations. And one thing that I always have my clients doing is like pulling out pieces from their closet and asking themselves like why they like this piece. And it's not just, oh, because it's cute. Okay, yeah, I know you think it's cute, but why do you think it's cute? Keeping yourself and your likes, your dislikes top of mind will make you a far better shopper. A lot of the times we like things because you like the way it looked on somebody else, because somebody else likes things. You honestly don't really like it for yourself. You like it for that person. You know what y'all say when y'all want to be shady? It looks cute on you. It's cute for you. And I honestly think like influencers, myself included, kind of ruined personal style. Because you like what I like. You don't necessarily like it because you like it. You like it because I like it. And now you want it. We all should take accountability. And so as viewers, as the audience, as the subscribers, we have to take accountability as well for some of our fashion decisions that we didn't really think it through. We bought it because somebody else is an influencer and they're good at their job, right? I've been influenced plenty of times. And then, I'm like, yeah, why did I do that? I shouldn't have bought that. So just getting back to learning yourself, it is such a journey. I've been loving learning more about myself, my likes, dislikes, beliefs. I took 3 weeks off of social media, deleted the apps. I learned so much about myself. I allow myself to find inspiration from other things, like exit out. Just take a step back from social media, because even these algorithms, like Pinterest, that was my dog, okay? But even the algorithms on Pinterest are designed to just show you what you've been liking. So it's not designed to show you anything new. They show you what they think you're going to like. And so even those things are kind of tainted. So you can't be sure that the inspiration that you're getting online is truly in line with who you are. Just take some time to be more introspective. Even when you're pinning things, like just ask yourself, why am I pinning things? What do I like about that? Let's stop the mindless engagement. Even when you're on Instagram, you're scrolling. Before you double tap, ask yourself, do I really like this? what do I like about this? I appreciate y'all. I appreciate all the love, the support, but this is going to be a great habit to get us more in line to who we are and just stop that mindless scrolling. Let's be more, present and more aware of our choices because we have a choice. Oh, yo, I was in the mall the other day and it was some random store I've never been to, but I'm just in there like, there's something vaguely like familiar about this store. And then I realized like everything in the store was just giving thrift aesthetic, but it wasn't giving thrift prices. People are really buying things brand new that they can get from the thrift store. That was weird but interesting. Like, oh, this is a trend. Like, people want to look like they shop at the thrift store. So they had like, the sweatshirts with like, say it said like, Lake Tahoe. They had vintage sweatshirts from different locations. They were faded. They had a lot of flannel stuff. I remember when I was so obsessed with Urban Outfitters and people used to always say like Urban Outfitters just look like something that you can buy at the thrift store. And I used to always like use Urban Outfitters as inspo for when I was thrifting. So to see this trend of them using thrift stores as an aesthetic or a style to sell back to you when you can just go to the source. But then again, I was in a thrift store the other day and I saw a lot of Fashion Nova, a lot of Shein, and I was just like, I'm so glad that I come from the time and when I was heavy into thrifting, like there was no such thing as fast fashion. Like you were finding vintage pieces for $3, vintage scarves. And I'm not saying those things aren't out there, but there's a lot of fugazi in the thrift store now as well. I don't thrift as much now because I know my personal style, and thrifting was essential for me to learn my style. It gave me the opportunity to experiment with different styles without breaking the bank. If you don't know your style, thrift. Because you're going to be able to play with so many different styles, very cost effective. But once you have your style, it becomes counterproductive because you end up buying stuff that you don't really need. Over the years, I found myself doing thrift hauls. Even if I didn't post about it, and just be like, having more and more clothes where I don't necessarily need any more clothes. I saw a TikTok where a creator mentioned how thrifting can be to the detriment of your style. And I kind of agreed with what he was saying. Thrifting is essential for discovering your personal style, playing around with different styles and finding out what your style is, especially when you're in college, in high school, your little check from Wendy's, go to the thrift store. I love that for you. But once you're established, once you know your style, it's hard to not buy those $5 pair of pants or that $5 blazer, even though it might not align with your style, but you love it so much. So yeah, just being mindful of those things. And when you're thrifting, you can still overconsume. So always asking yourself those questions about where would I wear this? How often can I wear this? How many different ways can I wear this? Making sure you're consuming consciously, even when you're thrifting. But I'm a thrift till I die, okay? I also think when we talk about trends and predictions, because this ties into sustainability, more emphasis will be placed on functional fashion. And so functional fashion are things that are a necessity by functionality. Initially, when fashion was first emerging, this is what was fashion. We kind of just create clothes for the sake of creating clothes, or putting a sleeve here or a button here for the sake of doing those things. But I feel like we'll start to get back into things that make sense and having functional pieces on our clothing. The one thing I hate is fake pockets. Like, why is that a stylistic choice? That's not very practical. Like just make it functional, okay? Or buttons that don't really button. Why are you there, girl? Like, make it make sense. Like, you could have just left her off. You could have left her at home because she's not really doing nothing. She's not contributing to the party at all. So yeah, functional fashion, make it make sense. Fashion has become so irrational and unnecessary. Previously, fashion existed to improve upon or to innovate. Now things are just new for the sake of being new. There is no logic in fashion today. It's just beautiful gowns, okay? My good guy might say a fashion show with no fashions. That's what it's giving. Recycling styles have become the norm. I always talk about this on this channel about how trends come and go. There is nothing new under the sun. Always thrift new trends to try it out before you invest. There are just so many things that I've had in my closet for years that I've thrifted that I can just bring back out when it's time. Yeah, don't invest in trends. Please don't. Because what was they talking about kitten heels last year? Now the kitten heel is back. Like, skinny jeans, I don't know if she coming back, but I'm pretty sure she coming back. So just keep them tucked, especially if it's a good quality pair of skinny jeans. Keep her tucked, okay? Keep her real tucked. Because 1 minute is low-rise jeans, next minute is high-waisted jeans. Like, it's just, you can't keep up. That's why you buy things you like. Who cares about a trend? Unless you work in the fashion industry, why are you worried about that? Do you? Be a spectator of fashion. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a spectator of fashion. Beautiful gowns, but you don't have to be a consumer. Like, we have to get out of the mindset of consumption. You can enjoy the spectacle, the entertainment of it all. And that's it. We don't have to immerse ourselves in it. Like, I see the girls are going to jail for fashion. The girls are going into debt for fashion. It's never been and never will be that serious. So I want us to get a grip. Get a grip. I just finished watching The Gilded Age. I watched Queen Charlotte. Now I'm watching Capote and the Swans. What is that show with Dior and Chanel? I'm watching that show. I watched The Crown. The Crown was iconic. Just seeing how they dressed back then, how there was so much quality, and how the girls were changing like 3 and 4 times a day. How much style and fashion differentiated between the classes. That was very standard. Like, clothing was very much based on your social class and social standings and told a story. Like, that was the style. Uniforms were invented so the working class can be identified outside of the upper class of people. People also didn't have so much clothes. People probably had 1 pair of clothes and that was it. Like, back then it was like you probably had a good 1 pair of pants, a skirt, a shirt, a jacket, and some shoes, and that was it. And like, clothing was highly valuable back then because it was couture. Everything was handmade. So everything was custom and tailored. It was for you. And so once mass production came about, the invention of the sewing machine and the knitting machine, that's when things became industrialized. And that's when this insurgent of mini clothes came about. So I thought that was interesting during some of my research, just to find more about the value of clothing. Sometimes people would pass down clothing. That's how valuable clothing was. What if we started looking at clothing like that again? What is valuable enough to pass down generations? Or at the very least, what's going to last? Like, are the girls even going to last that long? Like, crazy. Let's get back on track. I started talking about all the things I learned. Like, I am one of those people. I read a lot. I analyze. I'm very much an introvert, so I'd rather just spend my time in a book and writing and reading and doing those things. And so I really want to educate y'all about the things that I'm passionate about. I am a student of fashion and it interests me. I want to know why things are the way that they are, why people wear the clothes that they wear, why do they think the way that they think. I hope you guys are open to me sharing more about the things that I learn. So there's just so many fashion philosophers that I've been learning about, and one in particular theorized that fashion is anti-utopian and anti-authority. It says it's because this constant change undermines the possibility of there being a universal truth or style. What are your thoughts on that? So to sum it up really quickly, so far, we know clothes existed before fashion. We know clothing was handmade. People didn't have a lot of clothing. Clothing was something of value, or something that was passed down. When did fashion lose this kind of individualized approach? So the democratization of fashion. The faster fashion develops, the cheaper it becomes. Let's say that again. The faster fashion develops, the cheaper it becomes. What comes to mind when we think about that? Fast fashion. And the fact that fashion is no longer preserved for a small group of people speaks to the democratization of fashion. But there are pros and cons with fashion becoming more accessible. So if fashion is no longer exclusive or reserved for a certain echelon of people, there still must be some signifiers in fashion. We talk about the invention of uniforms. There was also something called sumptuary laws. So fashion was an upper class invention aimed to create distinction between the classes, right? There was something called sumptuary laws, which means certain articles of clothing was only reserved for certain classes of people, mainly the upper class. So these were like social markers. So when we're watching the Gilded Age or watching, The Crown or period shows like that, like just be mindful about the certain things that you're seeing certain castmates wearing versus the others. Even the invention of jeans, that was a working class thing. Then it became like the artists wore it. Once everybody started wearing it, no longer became cool. So that is an example of like the triple up effect. There's also, the trickle down effect. Once the elite was wearing it and it's hot, but then once the poor started to wear it, then it's no longer hot, it's no longer exclusive, it's whatever. And so we see those things happening today. Things are exclusive, but once everybody starts wearing it, it's just like, oh, that's cheap, that's tacky, this is for the poors. Fashion is just very obnoxious, and it's just like I said, it thrives on being exclusive. Like if everybody has it, nobody has it. Like it ain't hot. It's not. That's what they say. So that's why we do what we focus on personal style. We focus on things that we like because we like them, not because it's hot. Okay. And so there's something called conspicuous consumption. Back to the logomania. That was big, where you want people to know that you got that ish on. I think it's obnoxious. I do think it's obnoxious. But that was a thing. I'm going to have these signifiers to let you know that I'm not like you. Like it's not just enough to have money and power. You have to show it. Versus what we're seeing now is like quiet luxury, if you know kind of thing. So when we talk about the trickle down effect, it's meaning like innovation happens at the top and it trickles down. But once it gets to the poor, they don't want nothing to do with it. I think when we talk about taste, I think taste is a big part of fashion. Taste is not something that you're born with. Taste is something that is cultivated based on your experiences. And I feel like taste used to be solely reserved for the upper class, but with the invention of social media and stuff and these aesthetics and curation of things, we're allowed to have a glimpse into having taste without necessarily having the coins to match said taste. You see it all the time. I love watching these TikTok videos of like mood board aesthetics. Like people are amazing at creating these mood boards that signify taste, but they might not necessarily have the resources to afford these things. So when we hear things like old money aesthetic or quiet luxury aesthetic, that's what makes me think about the symbolic consumption one, but also like the taste level. Back to uniforms. Historically, uniforms have been social markers, and social status was marked by the clothes that you wore. I think people will start to adopt a uniform and capsule wardrobe more just to simplify and unify their life. In Rick Rubin's book, he talked about adopting a uniform to just give you focus, one less thing for you to worry about, to help you be more creative, practicing wearing the same thing over and over so you can utilize your creativity elsewhere, not on what you're going to wear for the day. Because honestly, trying to figure out what to wear all the time is exhausting. And there's a thing called decision fatigue. So the less decisions you make in a day, the better you are. You can save those decisions for things that actually matter, not what you're going to wear. Honestly, the goal, you should be able to go in your closet and just pull any few pieces and they should all just go together. Let's make fashion fun again, but let's not make it so complicated. Let's just do what we do and do it best. So we focus on curating a closet that speaks to us. That's less work. That's less time. That's having a closet full of clothes with everything to wear, not nothing to wear. Okay. That is the goal.